Hey everyone, it's Nerfinator again. I'm bringing you another blaster review. It's not an unboxing review because this is actually a vintage review. I don't do too many of these. Unfortunately, I don't have the original ammo for this blaster. However, I will be hopefully getting a hold of that sometime in the future, and when I do, I will show you what this thing can do. But this is my vintage review of the Nerf. I can't believe I actually got a hold of one of these. The Nerf Big Bad Bow, and this is the special edition red paint job. And this baby it's all here, except for the arrows. It's all here. It's got the original plastic still in the sight. It's got the original elastic that still has its elasticity. It still primes. And it's absolutely phenomenal. Another thing that I don't have any missiles for, obviously, but I do have demolisher missiles, and I'll show you that real quick. Okay, so I've got me a demolisher missile, and yeah, it just kind of barely fit it onto the end here. Prime the blaster. And it works pretty good. Now I've taken out the air restrictor. The reason for that is this old bow has a massive plunger tube. This whole section right here is a plunger tube. It's longer than my hand. It's massive. Now, some people like to carve these things up, and I don't see the point in that because this is a beautiful, beautiful blaster that has been very well preserved. I bought this from my nephew. He got it, of all things, for about 25 cents in a big lot of Nerf guns, and was nice enough to sell it to me. I paid $40 for this. It's in great condition. There's hardly a scratch on it. There's no sun fading. It's in great condition. Now the advantage of these things is that you can also make an adapter. And an adapter just consists, seriously, of a little bit of CPVC. And all I do is just stick it in the end. Now this thing shoots elite darts. And I mean, you don't have to leave it on there. You can just take it off whenever you want. So you stick an elite dart in the end and pull the trigger. Now, this thing is getting insane ranges. It's hitting about, I range tested it earlier today, and the ranges it was getting was about averaged 75 to 80 foot flat shots, and the angled shots were on average about 95 feet, and then I had one shot that went about 102 feet. So yeah, this thing is an absolute powerhouse. I actually just got this today. It took me forever to save up for it because my budget is very small. Now, another thing that I'm saving up for is an event that's coming up, hopefully in about 8 months, this coming June. And that would be my folks and I are kind of kicking around the idea of the possibility of us going to HVZ End War, which is hosted by Lord Draconical. He actually was the reason that I got into modding, which is kind of cool. I'd like to meet him. Besides him, there's also Containment Crew and a whole bunch of others that are going to be there. And I'm really hoping, really kind of crossing my fingers, really praying that we get to go to a HBZ End War. That would be awesome. If we don't, it's not the end of the world, but I would really love to go. But in the event that we do get to go, I'm preparing 12 blasters that I actually offer on my website. 6 different blasters, but I am going to do 2 of each. So that's 12 separate blasters, and I'm going to be saving up for that. It's going to take me 17 weeks to save up the initial cost, buying the base blasters themselves, and then I've got hopefully got some other money coming in to help me pay for paint and internals, because these things are going to be really expensive for me to make. They're not very expensive, but making a whole bunch of them at once is rather costly. Right now I'm looking at, with just the springs, the paint, and the base blasters, I'm looking at over $560 just for the springs, the paint, and the blasters. That's not counting the brass for the barrels, or the cylinders for hammer shots, or any of the kits, any of that. It's going to be expensive, but I can do it. I've crunched the numbers, and if I really crunch, if I really cram it, then I can make it in time for End War. Now the question is whether or not I'll actually be able to afford, is whether or not we will actually be able to afford to go down to End War. The reason I say that is End War actually is pretty cheap to get into. It's only like $10 or $8 to get in the door. But it's in Athens, Ohio, and we live in Kansas. So we're a little ways away. It's a 15-hour drive, that's without stops, and I mean, we would need to take a few stops. So it's probably about a 16-hour drive. That's a whole day on the road. Granted, my car gets good gas mileage, but we're not that, I mean, we're pretty good as far as money goes, but I mean, this is a bit of an expensive trip for us to make. So yeah, props to those of you who are going, who actually travel farther than I do to get there. Hats off to you guys. For those of you who are going, leave me a comment in the comment section below. I'm trying to figure out how to register as a vendor. I would love to know how to do that. I'd really like to try and get a hold of Lord Draconical and let him know that I would be interested in being a vendor if I was able to go this year. I wasn't able to go last year because we didn't have enough money. I had been going to scout camp and space camp, and that kind of drained all of our funds. But this year, I don't know whether or not I'll be going to space camp or not, and so this is kind of a possibility. So, who knows? It's kind of up in the air. But anyways, enough of me jabbering on and on about End War and upcoming events. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this look at a blaster from the past. And yeah, this thing's just phenomenal. It's been a favorite of modders for several years, mainly because of its massive plunger tube and the amount of power that it can give out. It didn't take a whole lot of work to pull out the air restrictor, I have to say. I mean, really all I did was open up the front section, just literally take off, and just pull off the front end of the plunger tube, just pull out the air restrictor, put everything back together, and pull this little peg out of the front. That's all you got to do. I mean, it is super easy. Just like 4 little teeth. Hold in the little peg in the front. Just take an X-Acto and take out those 4 little teeth. Now, I'm probably going to get a couple of comments in the comment section below. They're going to say, why did you do this? You're ruining your blaster, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm not. If you look online, when you modify a vintage blaster like this and keep it aesthetically the same, you increase the performance, you leave the blaster itself alone. You can still fire the arrows. It's functionally the same. The only thing I've done is take out the air restrictor. Now, if you remember the old night finders, you take out the air restrictor, nobody can tell the difference, and it's actually gone up in value because you put work into it and improved the product. Now, I have slightly improved this. Literally all I did was take out the air restrictor and find this in my scrap bin. It just happens to fit on the end. So, to those of you who say I'm ruining the blaster, no, I'm really not. It's kind of a pointless debate at this point, I think. I mean, if you're a modder and if you're a collector and you collect these blasters, Nerf is designed and built to be used. So if you buy a whole bunch of blasters and then they never get used, I mean, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying, in my opinion, blasters are made to be used. That's why they were made. I mean, these things are made to put darts in them, pull the trigger, and put them downrange. Now, obviously, I'm not going to take this to end war. This is, well, for one thing, it's not practical for something like end war, but I wouldn't take this thing to major events like that unless I was like showing it off. I'm not going to take this thing into serious foam combat. Maybe once in a while when I'm having like a high power war around the house, or like just right outside in my front yard. I'm not going to go rough and tumble with this thing because I want to keep this thing as pristine as I can. And when it's not in use, this thing, excuse me, when it's not in use, this thing is going to be kept in a safe place where the paint won't get scratched. That means it's not going into my Nerf bin. This is going somewhere else that will be nice, safe, and protected. In fact, I'm probably going to build some sort of box for it so that it can be stored properly without getting damaged. I also have another vintage blaster. Unfortunately, I can't get ammo for that either. But that would be the 1990, I believe 1999 Master Blaster, which was pretty cool. Shot the original ballistic balls. They were like this big. They're that big. They're really nice. But yeah, so if you guys have enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment in the comments below. Always love hearing what you guys have to say. And also don't forget to check out my website, nerfinatormods.com. That's Nerfinator with an E, so it's Nerf A Nader. I think a lot of people, when they look at my website, they type in Nerfinator, like the way it's spelled for Terminator, and it kind of throws Google search off. And there's only like one listing if you type in Nerfinator with an E. So it's not that hard to find. If you type it in with an E, it should show up right there at the top of the page. If it doesn't, I'm going to have it linked in the description box below if you guys are interested in my website. Don't forget to check it out. It's pretty cool. I'm still doing some updates and some renovations to the website, so it's not quite finished. In fact, websites are kind of like that. They're never quite finished. But I hope you guys enjoyed the website. Don't forget to order a blaster while you're there. I will be trying to get some blasters done for indoor, but that doesn't mean I won't have time to do some orders as well. So, would love to get some orders from you guys. So, yeah, this has been my review, vintage review of the Nerf Big Bad Bow. You guys have enjoyed. This is Nerfinator.